People who don't know, please go online right now and Google Vasily Lomachenko. He might be the best boxer that's ever lived. Lomachenko is on you like glue, stands right in front of you and you can't hit him. And he's going left and he's going right and he's in and he's out and you don't know where the fuck he is and he's lighting you up.
But that dude is that dude, right? Yeah. Okay, nobody tell me that dude right there is that dude.
It's like life. Everyone has to get tested. You don't know anything about anyone until they're tested. Until you find out. They might look good, they might have glossy muscles, quick hands, quick feet. They might have all those things. But you don't know what's inside until that test comes. And guess what? Lomachenko is the test man. He's not the machine. He's the test maker. He tests you. He tests you deep inside, not outside, not on the surface. What's inside? That's what he does.
All right, so now Devin Haney put on one of the worst boxing performances of the year last night against a rematch that nobody wanted to see against a flash-in-the-pan one-hit wonder in George Kambosos Jr. Horrible fight, complete shit night of boxing, and we had a Wilder fixed fight on top of that. Just an all around horrible night of boxing. But I will say this, and I've been saying it since day one, Lomachenko will make easy work of Devin Haney. The fight was so laughably bad with George Kambosos last night that Tim Bradley and the ESPN crew were actually recording the number of clinches that Devin Haney had, because that's all he knows how to do is jab and hold like Floyd. And after winning this one-sided mismatch of a fight and a rematch that nobody wanted to see, they asked Devin Haney again, what about Loma? And Devin Haney, in typical Floyd Mayweather fashion, says, you remember how Floyd used to say, well, we're not ducking and dodging nothing. We out here to fight the best. We ain't ducking and dodging nothing. And all that other, hamdulillah. We're not ducking and dodging nothing. Hamdulillah. We're not ducking and dodging nothing. We're here to fight the best. Hakaba hamdulillah. Now, anyways, so, okay. Well, if you're not ducking and dodging nothing, hamdulillah, fight Lomachenko. Vasily Lomachenko, and I've stood by this, I thought Teofimo barely won that fight against Loma. Okay? Now, on the flip side, I thought Loma beat the hell out of Salido and got robbed. But I thought Teofimo did enough to nick out a decision against Lomachenko, or maybe a draw. Okay? But that was his only one actual loss, was against Teofimo. And that's even debatable, right? So he loses he was pound for pound number one prior to the Teofimo Lopez fight. He loses a questionable fight with one arm. He was the pound for pound number one. Doesn't get a rematch, then bounce backs and fights two top 10 contenders in the same calendar year in 2021. In Nakatani and Richard Comey, and beats the shit out of both of them. Stopped Nakatani. Could have stopped Comey as well, but he showed Comey some mercy. Now, in what world do you go from being pound for pound number one, losing a close decision with one arm, then jumping back and beating two top 10 contenders, to not getting a title shot and not being ranked on the pound for pound list? Like I say, the boxing establishment is prejudiced against Eastern Europeans. They're the best fighters in the world. It's that simple. There is no other explanation for it. It is what it is. Now, as far as him fighting Devin Haney goes, I'm going to say this. All those clinches you saw last night in the Kambosos fight are essentially gone against Lomachenko. He's not going to be able to hold Lomachenko constantly. He's too slippery, and he's small, and for two reasons, his footwork and his ankles. He's not going to be able to consistently hold Loma like you saw him doing in 2 fights with George Kambosos, and you also saw it in the Jorge Linares fight when, after Linares hurt him really bad, had him out on his feet, Haney held on for dear life, and Linares finished that fight pretty strong. And I maintain that a younger Jorge Linares, the Linares that fought Lomachenko, that was a reigning champion with several title defenses, would have beat Haney. The kid is criminally overrated, okay? And this is a fight that needs to happen in boxing, people. And I mean, and one of the issues is this. If Loma and Haney were to fight, okay, Haney, because he'll move up to, if he does fight Lomachenko, win, lose, or draw, he'll be moving up to 140 after that fight, okay? So you can bet your sweet ass that Haney will come in overweight and say, fuck these titles, I'm moving up anyway, okay? The other problem, well, it's not really a problem. All Lomachenko has to do in the Haney fight is get around the jab. Use his footwork, use his angles. And again, because of those footwork and angles, all that clinching shit, for the most part, I'm not going to say there's not going to be any clinches in the fight, but for the most part, they're going to be gone. And once Haney gets around once Lomachenko gets around the jab, it's over. And when they do decide to fight, if Haney's man enough, that is, of course, and Lomachenko's at 100%, I've been saying this since day one, Lomachenko will beat the fucking snot out of Devin Haney. He will make him look like an amateur. You remember prior to me getting locked up, you remember me constantly telling you guys that Bivol was going to make Canelo look childish and he was going to make him look like an amateur and all that other shit that I had said? The same applies here. If Lomachenko's 100% healthy, no fucked up shoulder, no injuries, he's going to make Devin Haney look like a fucking child in there. It's a mismatch, people. I'm telling you. And I will say this. If they were to fight, Devin Haney's probably going to win the first couple of rounds because Lomachenko will be downloading information and probably eat a few, long, stiff Haney jabs in the process. But after that, it's bye-bye birdie. And Lomachenko's going to go on to dominate him the rest of the fight. As far as I'm concerned, Lomachenko's still a top 6 or 7 pound-for-pound fighter in the world. You can't have Errol Spence ranked above him. You can't have Fury ranked above him. You can't have a lot of these guys ranked. He's a 3-weight champion, a legitimate 3-weight champion, not a fucking fake-ass 3-weight champion like Tank Davis, for example. And he's former unified. Like, you don't go from being pound for pound number 1, losing a close decision with one arm, to just not being on the pound for pound list. And that just shows the idiocy of a lot of these boxing fans and channels out there, people. Again, I've said this from day one. There isn't a shadow of a doubt in my mind that Lomachenko will pepper this fucking idiot, okay? Hopefully the fight happens. I have my doubts. I think Haney's going to bitch up. I think he's waiting to see what Lomachenko looks like at the end of the month against the Jermaine Ortiz kid. And if you guys have watched my prediction video on that fight, you know that I expect Lomachenko to have a vintage performance against that kid. I think he's going to beat the fucking brakes off of him. He is a good fighter, but you're going against Lomachenko. So in my opinion, if Lomachenko impresses in that fight and just beats the shit out of him, I think Haney is going to go running to 140. So that's my 2 cents on, the fight that should happen in the lightweight division. Tank and Ryan are both clowns and cowards. They're I don't know why people keep mentioning them, but it is what it is. And if Loma can't get Haney, if Haney ducks, then I think it's time for Top Rank to start building up a Lomachenko-Shakur Stevenson fight. So that's what I'll say. Haney put on a horrible performance last night against a one-hit wonder in a rematch that nobody wanted to see. And then you had Bill Haney lying on the LDBC channels, claiming that, well, the Lomachenko could have happened after Kambosos. No, it couldn't have, because you were signed into a fucking contract for a Kambosos rematch. But that's okay, Bill Haney. Like I say, you can fool the rest of your fucking BLM race baiting channels, but you can't fool guys like me and and Precise and Nordic and people that actually know what the fuck they're talking about. So Lomachenko will dehumanize that kid, man. It won't be pretty. It'll be a one-sided domination, and Lomachenko, I guarantee you, will come out on top if him and Haney are to fight. Okay? With that being said, if you're new to the channel, please be sure to hit the like button and subscribe. God bless you all and have a wonderful Sunday. Cheers.